Dear friends, good day. I wanted today to make a summary of the history of serious ITC. I stress the word serious, not the ghost hunting story, because that's a different story, but ITC really, as described by Professor Ernst Senkowski in his famous book Instrumental Transcommunication, which almost 500 pages covers the whole story of ITC. And I must say here, so it's 470 pages, that Professor Senkowski witnessed personally most of ITC contacts. He was there in Luxembourg, and with Adolf, he spoke with the communicators of these two very famous transcommunicators, the Harsch-Fischbach in Luxembourg and Adolf in Germany, Rivenich. He was there. He spoke with them many times. Other times, the communicators, technician, Dr. Schwegensalter, called Professor Senkowski at his home and spoke with him. So, this is a personal witness that should not be questioned. He is beyond any doubt a highly intelligent man, highly knowledgeable, my very dear friend, with whom I corresponded for many years, from whom I learned a lot. And his opinions, his judgment of many of these contacts is published in the ITC journal. You will find in the description the references. Just have to go there, get the ITC journal, and you will read it by yourselves. But let me start by saying that this, what he called ITC, to encompass all contacts via electronic devices, seems to our knowledge have started with the Brazilian scientist and spiritist, serious, also very serious, researcher Oscar Dargonel, of Portuguese ancestry. He published a little book in 1925, Voices of the Beyond Through the Telephone, 1925. This is a jewel that I treasure. Two Brazilian friends brought it to me from Brazil. But what I want to convey today is, besides this very first, it seems to have been the very first, because it was through the telephone contact, beginning of the 20th century, was Oscar Dargonel. Then, of course, came the great pioneer of the electronic voices, Friedrich Jürgenson. By now, I think you all know the book, Anders Leopold, and my own book, Friedrich's Conversations with the Dead, based on this book. Fernando Cortizo, the director, movie director, is making a documentary. Yeah. Really, it's longer than a documentary. It will be around 80 minutes, a film, let's say, of Friedrich Jürgenson's fantastic, extraordinary life. So he was the great pioneer. He was followed, as certainly many of you know, by Dr. Konstantin Raudive, philosopher, psychologist with published work, whose book was translated into English in 1971 under the title Breakthrough. And this is, in a way, what made these voices known after Friedrich Jürgenson and his famous press conferences, which also assembled journalists from all over the world in his house in Nissund, his country estate. But then Dr. Raudive followed, and after the publication of his translated book, Breakthrough, in England, these electronic voices became popular all over the world. At a certain point, they were called the Raudive voices. After Dr. Raudive came another great transcommunicator, Marcello Bacci, in Grossetto, Italy. And next also Hans Otto König in Germany, two great transcommunicators. There are some remarks about their work. I know very well the negative remarks that were made about Bacci, which I cannot support because I was in Grossetto 2 or 3 times. I witnessed the contacts, and at least the ones that I was present were certainly very true. At the end of his life, there are voices that say that things changed a little bit. I really don't know. And I could not testify to that. So after Bacci and Hans Otto König later, came the famous Luxembourg transcommunicators, Maggie and Jules Harsch-Fischbach. Professor Senkowski, as I said, or I think I said, spoke with the communicators at the Harsch-Fischbach directly. So did Father François Brun, the French professor and priest and researcher of paranormal phenomena. Very famous, his most famous book is Les morts nous parlent. The dead speak with us. Translated in 20-something languages, but unfortunately not in English. Anyway, they were there, they spoke with the communicators, François Brun, Dr. Ernst Senkowski, German professor of physics, Dr. Ralf Dettermeyer. Some of these communicators, like the famous technician, also called Dr. Ralf Dettermeyer at home and spoke with him. I have given in the description the link to a very interesting interview of Dr. Ralf Dettermeyer with a German movie director. You will have the link. This is a highly interesting 1.5 hour of interview. He speaks about Manfred Boden's telephone contacts and Manfred Boden's computer texts. They seem to have been the first computer text, together with Ken Weber, the English teacher, who also received spontaneous computer texts of a different nature, not like Adolf Holmes, but more erratic computer texts of an entity that said that he was of the 16th century, and as a matter of fact used 16th century English. Anyway, the Harsch-Fischbach have been very, how do I say, accused of fraud, mainly because some of his contacts, some of his communications are of situations that apparently exist in our world. I say apparently because properly speaking, they are not identical. They are very similar, but they are not identical. Like that famous two young people, a young couple, hand in hand, walking in the water. It seems there is a movie about it, or yes, I think this was the Harsch-Fischbach. And the Harsch-Fischbach, their images, their videos were spontaneous. They did not work for them. They came spontaneously in his, not internet, there was no internet at the time, TV, and they are accused of falsifying. It's not true at all. Professor Senkowski, with whom I spoke many times about the Harsch-Fischbach contacts, testified to their authenticity and to the honesty of Maggie and Jules Harsch-Fischbach. There are, of course, the so-called ghost hunters and others who have not results in ITC and spend their time accusing the Harsch-Fischbach of falsifying. But of course we all know that jealousy can be a very powerful negative emotion, so it's not good to pay any attention to that. In any case, Professor Senkowski, this is published in French in a book by the director of, published by the director of the famous French magazine Parascience, and it's called Parallel Reality. 12 cases are described here of apparently existent, they are not totally identical, as I say, situations in our dimension. Professor Senkowski explains what he thinks about these situations. And also Dr. Ralf Dettermeier in the link, in his interview in Germany, a recent one, it's 4 or 5 years old, 4 years old, what he thinks about these similarities. He says there are other transcommunicators who have witnessed the same thing. That is to say, what they received as paranormal seems to exist in this world. Both say these are layers of information between this world, the next world, and so on. Could also be a way of conveying to us information for which there is no proper, how would I call it, figuration in their world, and they use this world existent cases, could be, very well. Whatever. What I want to say is that beyond any doubt, the Harsch-Fischbach are absolutely true transcommunicators, and together with Adolf Holmes, the greatest transcommunicators that existed. Not really because of their work, but because they were chosen by the entities to receive these contacts. Why? As the technician said once, and Ralf Dettermeier says in his interview, you have to have a true desire of the heart to receive these contacts. After the Harsch-Fischbach, Adolf Holmes, which Professor Senkowski also followed, over 200 computer texts are here in German. I have the Italian translation. This is the original, assembled, compiled by Professor Senkowski, And you can also, in other videos, I will speak more about Adolf Homes extraordinary, because they supposedly come from very high entities. And at the end of this chain, it's like a chain, isn't it? My own ITC contacts, which I didn't expect it, never expected it, but the direct radio voices appeared in great profusion. Many, many, many. I have thousands of recordings. Mostly direct radio voices, but not all direct radio voices. Some EVP voices also. What do I call EVP? To clarify, the ones that you can only hear, you can only hear them when you rewind the device where they were recorded, be it analog, be it digital, a computer, a mobile phone, etc. You play it and then you listen. But when you record, you can't hear anything, while the direct radio voices are direct. They come into the air. But I would like to finish with a quotation from Friedrich Jürgenson, from my own book on page 259. Friedel was disturbed by the fact that in his footsteps followed charlatans, quacks, fanatical occultists, and the like, which utilized this discovery and just minted coins from it. He received reports from serious friends in different parts of the world about radio and TV programs in which so-called voice researchers presented untenable claims and astonishing contacts with the deceased in spectacular forms. Of course, these were not true. These spectacular forms. Spectacular forms, so far, we have the Harsch-Fischbach and Adolf Holmes. The Marcello Bacci, to a certain point also. And of course, as you could expect, at the present time, nowadays, we have the artificial intelligence supposed contacts. I have seen several, not one I would avail as serious and as true. They were just fantasies coming through AI, but no serious research with artificial intelligence has been done, to my knowledge, until this day. So I hope now you have, this is of course a very short summary. There are so many other, also good transcommunicators in ITC, but I just quoted the most relevant. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy it, and the contact will be in the video description. Good day and enjoy your ITC work. Do it seriously and with great love, which according to the communicators and interest, a visceral interest, as Dr. Ralph Dettermeyer described the successful contacts, which certainly are not the ghost hunter contacts. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Estamos comunicando com o grupo Landel e com Carlos de Almeida. Pergunta. Como?
Olha, eu não posso responder diretamente. Desculpe. Não posso. Sim, estou a ouvir. Sim? Estou a responder, mas não estou. Agora percebeu-se um pouquinho melhor. Agora percebe-se melhor.
Okay,